I'm gonna start recording before I forget. Mm. Guys are nice and perfectly early. Hey, Andrew, while you're here, let me ask you a couple questions. What, just for future reference, what instruments do you play, if any?
I used to play the piano.
The piano? Okay, cool. And do you have a MIDI keyboard?
Yeah.
Awesome. And any chance you have an audio interface, like
Not sure that.
a microphone and like something to plug the microphone into your computer?
No.
Okay, that's okay. When the time comes, you could rent one from the school if you wanted to.
Okay.
Put you down for have a keyboard, which is great.
Um, there's still the same problem.
Still the same problem? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just wait till you get back.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hi, Isaac and Harper. Everybody's coming in. How's everybody's President's Day weekend? Anybody do anything fun?
I just came back from Vermont like today.
Fun. Did you ski?
Yeah, only one day though, because there was like a crazy winter storm and we actually lost power for like 5 hours.
I'm glad you made it back. How's everybody doing? On week two. Well, week four of school, week two of us. So I'm proud of you all for getting Pro Tools up and running. That's always like a big feat. Um, and technically frustrating for a lot of people. But now the creativity begins and we get to be creative for the rest of the semester, which is very exciting. Does anybody have any questions thus far on roadblocks, frustrations that they have with Pro Tools, aside from the ones I know about? No, we're all ready to write some music. Okay. So if everybody wants to open up their Pro Tools session from last week or your homework, that'll help us get started and we can fiddle around in there while we learn some things. I'll just give you guys a minute to open that up. I'm opening mine as well. Always takes longer than you want it to. Okay, so this is what we should know so far. If you don't know it, stop me and we'll go over it. So the dashboard, proper naming, everybody did a great job naming their projects. It's like a first for a semester. Where to store files. I assume everybody knew where they stored them, and it will make your life easier in the future that you do know that. And do we do a wave or an AIF? What do we pick? Gonna pick a wave. And then sample rate, it's 44.1 and 24-bit. This is CD standard. Film and TV is 48K and 24-bit, I think. And what is interleaved?
I guess it has something to do with stereo.
Yes. So when you bounce your track, it will bounce it into one file rather than a left and a right speaker. So if you do
Oh.
not check that box, you're going to bounce or export two separate files.
Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, no problem. And if you don't check it on the dashboard, you can check it when you bounce your files. But it's good to have it. It will save you a step if you forget it. And you have a set location. So what's the difference between file and folder? 90% of you got it. What do you want to send me?
A folder?
Yes, you want to send me the folder. If you send me just the file, I will be missing all the audio files, all the video files, anything attached that's not MIDI. So it doesn't really matter right now, but when we get to recording audio, if you just send me the PTX file, I won't be able to hear any of your audio. Marissa, you have a question.
I was just going to ask, were we supposed to have something for the first assignment in like audio files and bounced files? Because those, like, okay, those were empty. Okay.
Yes. Audio files, I think in 2 or 3 weeks we'll start recording audio. So those files or folders will be empty as of now, but we will get to them. So the 3 windows, which we're going to go over today, the edit window, the mix window, and the transportation or transport window. Did everybody catch what AZ focus was last week? I went over it real briefly, but I'll show you guys again. Does anybody remember what it is? So it's this little button over here. It has a little A and Z on it. It's on the right side of your edit window. And if you click on it, you can use quick keys, just your letters on your keyboard. And the main ones you're going to want to use are T and R, and that will help you zoom in and zoom out. You can see my measure numbers going in and out right there as I hit the T and the R button. So they're just a quick little helpful tool if you click this AZ, called AZ Focus. And then grid mode, what's the difference between grid mode and slip mode? Anybody want to tell me?
Grid mode is it follows where the lines are, and slip mode, you could just like place the clip anywhere.
Exactly. So if I have I'm in notes right now, I'm going to switch to clips. If I switch over here, I'm in slip mode, so I can go in between the grid right now. I can move my track in between the grid. If I'm in grid mode, then it will snap to the grid if I move it to the left or to the right. So if you want to remain in time and you know where you are, you probably want to be in grid mode. But if you want a little more control, going into slip mode is better. And to change how big your grid is, you would go right up here. It says grid, and right now I have it set to quarter note. I can set it to 64th notes if I want. And then if I move it left or right, it will snap to the grid by a 64th note if I'm in that mode. Did I see a question from somebody? No. Okay, cool. All right. So smart tools. Did everybody get familiar with these this week? So we have the trim tool, which goes like this. If you're in grid mode, it will trim it to the bar or whatever your grid is set at. If you're in slip mode, you can trim between the bars. Then selector, you can select anywhere in your track. You can delete. Command Z will undo that. And then the grabber tool allows you to grab and pull your track to the left, to the right, up, down, whichever way you want to do it. And then the last thing we went over last week was your counter up here. We're in bars and beats right now. You could also, if you're doing film, you could do minutes and seconds, time code, but we're going to stay in bars and beats. And if you want to skip to a bar, say I want to skip to 32, I can just go type in 32 and my cursor will then go to the 30-second measure. That's a quick little way to jump around your track. Any questions thus far? All right, you all did a great job creating tracks, MIDI tracks. To change the color, do we remember how to do that?
I double click that stripe there.
Excellent. So you can pick all from all these pretty colors. It's really good when you have a bunch of tracks to try kind of have a formula. So maybe every time you record bass, make green. Every time you record drums, make it easy or yellow. And it makes it easy for you to scan your track and know what track's which, especially when we get to the mixing stage. So having methods will help you streamline your process in the future. So the next thing we're going to talk about, any questions on what we went over last week? All right, you guys all did
I'm
okay.
sorry, but can you run by me how I'm supposed to record with MIDI? Because I tried doing that with I actually wasn't able to get my cable at the time you were doing it, so
Okay, so you have a keyboard now?
1 second. I'm going to move towards my keyboard. I'm in my room.
Does anybody want to walk us through how we record MIDI?
I can.
Yay, thank you, Rebecca. Okay. I'm going to delete this track.
Yeah, okay.
So, Claire, do you want to share your screen or do you want me to do it on my screen?
You can try to do it on your screen.
Okay.
Maybe I'll try to follow along.
So, Rebecca, you're on. I have my Pro Tool session blank.
Yeah.
So I guess like the first thing you need to do is like plug in your MIDI device or connect it somehow. Um, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna create wait, or do you want to do the keyboard version or like the MIDI keyboard?
A keyboard. Oh, Claire, you have a keyboard plugged in, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
wanna
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you want to do Control Shift N for a Mac. So Command Shift N for a Mac. I'm not sure what it is on a PC.
I'm just gonna make
And
that
from there,
first.
you're gonna get a new track.
Mhm.
Okay. MIDI
And
track,
what?
or is it instrument track or MIDI track?
So this is going to give you the instrument track in order for you to record with MIDI. So first you're going to change the mono to stereo. You're going to change the audio track to an instrument track.
Got it.
And then you're going to name your instrument so that you can have like everything organized. So in this case, a piano. Then what you're going to do is you press the record button that's right underneath the name piano and it's flashing red. So when you press that, first you also have to do like a press in the inserts, right? It's in the inserts. And you need to do multi-channel plugin. Go to Air Music Technology.
Okay, the expand.
For here it's an XP and audio is down there.
Yes.
For me it's in a different spot. But so where it says XP and audio stereo, then you click on where it just appeared.
Right.
Then where it says track preset, so underneath preset, it says factory default. There you can choose your like which instrument you want to use out of all of those. In this case, I'm assuming a piano because piano is there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it.
Okay.
And then now if you play like your MIDI keyboard, since the recording button is turned on, then it'll sound. But if you want to record, you do Command Space Bar and then it starts recording.
Oh, but that opens my spotlight. Is there any way I can rebind it?
The way to do that is just to turn off spotlight mode on your computer. I don't know how often you use spotlight mode, but for me, I never use it, and it's just easier just doing Command Space Bar.
Wait, so when you record and enable a track, what exactly do you have to do?
What do you mean?
When you record and enable a track, because like I can kind of do it. I can kind of hear it, but I don't see anything coming out of the.
Yeah, so that's the Command Space Bar, and that'll do the actual recording.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
so
can
much.
see like the MIDI in Flash when I play the keys, so at least there's something that's going in, right? But
Yeah, so this will, if you have just this record enabled right here, then you can audition your instrument. And it won't record it. You can just hear it. And if you don't do the quick key, you can go to here and do record enable and hit the space bar, and then you can start recording your
Oh,
notes.
so I have to hit the record on the record button on the track first, the track record enable button. Then I can record. Then I can do. Then I can record on the regular record button.
Yeah, so it's a two-step record process. Rebecca did a great job giving you the quick key, which everybody should and want to know. But if you don't have that, then or if you
Oh, I
want to
forgot. I didn't set the MIDI input. That's why there's like. mm, Never mind. I'm
and then
sorry.
record enable up here,
Okay.
and then you hit either play or the space bar. And then you should be able to record.
Oh, I had to just click play. Okay, all right. I think it's working now. Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. That was perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions? And Noah, you said you asked, hold on. I just forgot what you asked. Give me one sec. How do you delete a track? Okay, good question. Great question. Once you delete it, you can never get it back. So be sure that you want to delete it. So what you would do is you would click on the track name, and then on a Mac, you hit Control to right click, and then you go down to delete. But again, you can't retrieve it once you do that. So just make sure that that is what you want to do. Awesome. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about is quantization. That's a hard word to say, for me to say. Does anybody know what quantizing is?
Like make the length of the notes kind of more accurate.
Yeah, so it clicks everything in time. So it's a fast way to make everything. If you play like a little behind the beat or ahead of the beat, you can quantize the notes and it'll snap the notes to the beat. It's a great tool, but don't overdo it because then it can sound a little too mechanical. So you might want to quantize your bass and your drums and like your rhythmic stuff and maybe leave the melody a little more, expressive or real sounding. So quantizing is a tool used to moving MIDI notes in line with the grid, making rhythmically imprecise performance end up perfect. So it does take away the human feel when you quantize something. And what you want to do is you want to pick the lowest denomination of your rhythms. So if you have recorded quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, you pick 16th notes of what you want to quantize. If you pick quarter notes, then all your 16th notes will snap to the quarter note. So the way you do it is if everybody has their projects open, or your scales, your beautiful scales, you would go up to your menus up here and go to event, down to event operation and quantize. And the quick key is option 0. And then you're going to get this little box that pops up. And so here is where you pick your lowest denomination. So I wasn't playing in time at all. So I'm going to pick quarter notes, and probably a lot of your scales are on quarter notes. So I'll pick quarter notes and then I'll hit apply. Actually, I have to select my notes first. So I'll select my notes. Make sure you do that. Event, then operations, quantize. Okay, and I'm picking quarter notes. And once I hit apply, you'll see all the notes snap to the closest quarter note that you played. So everybody just take a minute or two and quantize your notes. If you only want to quantize part of your track, you can do that by just doing the selector tool and selecting, say you only want to quantize 3 notes, then select the notes that you want to quantize. You don't have to do it all one track.
How did you pull up that menu again?
So you go the quantize menu,
Yeah.
Right. So you go option 0, or you can go up to event up on your menu, drop down menus up here, and then down to event operations, and then quantize. And here is,
That's a question. I
yeah.
don't know if this is a dumb question. When I recorded my scales, I like recorded them scale by scale, so they're kind of in like MIDI blocks.
Mhm.
If I wanted to quantize like the entire track all at once, because what I just did was I kind of like clicked each block of MIDI and like quantized it that way. Is there a way to do like the entire?
I think if you do Command A,
Okay.
that will select everything.
And, yeah, cool. Thank you.
I can't find where did you find the quantize thing?
Up in the event drop down menu. Is that what you're talking about? So up here, right there, and then click on event, and then event operations, and then down to quantize.
You will apply or
How's everybody feeling about quantizing? Any questions?
Wait, how do you
Professor?
zoom out from the track? Because my track is like zoomed it. Like it's like I don't know how to explain it.
That's okay. I think what you can do is right over here, see this on the right
Yeah.
top right, click that
Hmm.
AZ focus, and then hit the R button to zoom out and the T button to zoom in.
Ah, perfect. I see it. Thank you.
Professor?
Yes.
Are we supposed to be quantizing our last assignment, the scales?
Yeah, just to practice.
Got it. I don't have access to that file anymore. I do have access to Pro Tools, but I don't have access to that file. It's deleted.
That's okay. Just, make some notes.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you too, did you, is the problem solved?
Uh, yes, I didn't want to, I downloaded Pro Tools again under a new email, under my school email, as opposed to my personal one, and I haven't opened any new sessions. I don't want to use them up or fall into the same situation again. So, yeah,
Keep crossing our fingers for you.
thank you.
Okay. So the next thing I want to show you is your rulers right up here. So these are bars and beats, tempo meter. You can adjust your meter. Say you want to go in 3/4 or 2/4 or whatever. If you click on this little plus sign, right? See where it says meter, and you click on the plus sign, this will pop up. And you can change to 3/4, whatever. You can change it within the track. So you can start in 4/4, change it to 3/4 halfway through, or whatever you want to do. If you want to get rid of, if you did that on error, you can just pull it down. That's how it used to work. I don't know. I guess it's not working that way anymore. Then I would just go back and I would switch it back to 4/4, I guess. And then you're good. To change the tempo, you double click right here, this little red flag, and then you can change your tempo to whatever you want, 80. Oops. And you will see it adjusts right there. You can also change the tempo halfway through your track by selecting a cursor or where you want it to be, and then hitting the plus sign. And then if you want your track to speed up at that measure mark, you can see that it adjusts here as well. Another really useful tool up here that we'll be using this week is markers. What markers do is they help you organize your track. So if I'm at, say, I'm going to go in grid mode. Okay, so my first 4 measures will be the intro, and say my verse starts at measure 4. So if I hit the plus sign, this will pop up and I can do verse 1. Then say my chorus comes in at measure 10. I'll hit the marker again and I'll do chorus here. And so forth. That way, when you're looking at your track, you can easily know where your verse starts, where your chorus starts. I like to also use the markers. I like to put my chords in there. So if I have like A minor, F, G, or whatever it is, then as I'm playing all the different tracks, I know what chords are in there and I don't have to really remember it. It just helps me. But a lot of people just use the markers for, identifying your verse, chorus, different sections of your song. So whatever you prefer is perfect. Any questions on the markers or the meter tempo? These are called the rulers up here. If you don't want them all there, you can get rid of them. I don't really need minutes or seconds or samples. I just kind of want tempo, meter, and markers up there. So you can save some screen real estate by getting rid of that. Questions?
Professor,
Yes.
on the screen where it says sends A through E and inserts F through J,
Mhm.
where you have expand, I don't see that on my system.
You don't need that right now. We will use that when we start talking about effects in like 4 weeks, but it's
Okay.
actually better to not have them because it'll save you some real estate. So if you want them or don't want them, you click this little
Got it.
angle
Can
here
I
things, and you can uncheck it and it'll go
can
away.
I add an instrument without them?
Yes. So the instruments are added using the inserts.
Right, I don't see inserts either.
Oh, you don't see inserts? Okay, so go to that same box and then hit inserts.
Okay, thank you.
Good question. Any other questions thus far?
Can you explain the quantized part again?
Of course. So I want to select the part that I want quantized. So you can either do Command A to select all of it, or you can use your selector tool and select just a couple notes that you want quantized. Then I'm going to go up to event, and quantize is, it makes your notes in time, snap to the grid. So I'll go up to event, then event operations, then down to quantize. And you're going to want to pick your lowest denomination of your notes. So if you have 16th notes, 8th notes, pick 16th notes as your what you're going to quantize. If you pick the 8th notes, then your 16th notes are going to snap to the 8th note. And it's probably not what you're going for. So I have quarter notes, which I've already quantized. I'm going to pick quarter notes, and then you hit apply, and they'll snap to the grid. That makes sense, Noah?
Yeah, that made sense. And I'm having trouble. I don't know how to slide in and out of the thing. I'm trying to use my mouse to like drag it, but it just drags the whole thing.
Oh, to select just certain notes?
Yeah, I don't know how to
Okay.
drag it because when I played it, it went to the end part, but I'm trying to drag it back since I have it so zoomed in.
Okay, so right up here, you see you have your trim tool, your selector tool, and your grabber tool. I think you probably have it on grabber. If you go to select,
Yeah.
then you can select within the track.
And for how do I drag like for example, if you were to play it, you wouldn't see the notes anymore. It would go like all the way to the chorus. How do I go back to the how do like I'm trying to go back to the piano part.
Can you share your screen or no?
I have it on a different I have a different setup here. I have the Zoom on a
Say that one more time.
So wait, can you play the track really quickly, and it's gonna go all the way towards the end, but it's you're not gonna be able to see your piano one because it's all the way in the beginning. And I'm trying to go back to that part.
I don't know that I know what you're talking about.
Let me see. Because I'm trying to drag uh I'm trying to go back to that first part, but I can't because it's already towards the end. Because I played the track. Yeah, like
Scroll.
that. Like
Okay, so
scrolling, yeah.
yeah, right down here at the bottom, you
I
can
don't
just
see it.
scroll.
All the way at the okay, I see it.
Yeah,
Because at first I saw it right below it, but I think yeah, never mind. I see it. Thank you.
no problem. I saw somebody, did somebody have a question? Okay,
How do you delete a marker?
delete a marker. Good question. Well, I'll show you what used to be the case. You would just pull it down. Up, still the case. Oh, now it dragged it down there. Try that again. Before, you would just pull it down. I'm gonna have to get back to you, Victor, because I'm not sure now. There used to be like a little trash can, and now it's just
Figured out how to do this before because I accidentally made a marker I didn't want. I think if you just right click it, a menu will drop and you can delete. It's not the like smoothest way of doing it, but it worked for me.
That's amazing. Thank you. Is that Jessica? Awesome. Okay.
I also have a question.
Yes, go for it.
How do I shorten the marker? I can shorten it. Like,
Shorten the
make-
marker.
yes.
I would just make another marker so I have it here, and then I would make another marker here, being
So
like,
it's not possible to shorten the marker. Make it shorter.
not that I know of.
Okay.
Probably is a way. I mean, you can just drag it that way if I have another marker, but I don't know how to like other than saying end of marker or end of verse. Do it that way. Okay. So then if you want to nudge your track, you can do it with a quick key. So you just select it, and then your arrows, the little carrots on your keyboard, you can nudge your track left and right. And it nudges it using whatever you have picked here. So if I pick eighth notes, it will nudge it to the eighth note here. And whatnot. So there's a couple quick keys, and if anybody else has found quick keys along the way, and I think next week we're gonna do a lesson on all the quick keys that you guys will want to know and use. But for right now, return, if you hit the enter button, you'll start to the beginning of your session, playback, hit the space bar, record, you do shift command space bar, and to nudge, you use the little carrots. And then of course the AZ focus. How are we doing? We're all feeling zen and good about it. So this is the edit window. I'm sharing. Oh, Marissa, you have a question.
Sorry, when you did the nudge, how did you change it to the eighth note or the quarter note?
Oh, good question. Good question. So up here, see where this little grid is up here? It says grid and nudge. You adjust that.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions on the edit window so far? Okay, now we're going to switch over to the mix window, which will be small right now if you only have one track. But if you have a bunch of tracks, say I'm just going to make like 10 for now. I have 10 tracks. They're all the same. So like if you know what one channel does, then you're going to know what all the channels do. So I'm gonna delete that just for ease sake. But this is called the mix window. And we're going to use it a lot towards the end of the semester when we're mixing our projects, but it kind of is similar to what your edit window looks like. You have inserts up here, which is where you put your instruments. You have sends, which we will be using when we do effects. This is the IO. So when you have instruments, when you have an instrument MIDI track, there's no input. So you leave that alone. When we go to audio tracks, you will have an input. Your output is your headphones or whatever, your speakers, whatever you're using as your playback. Then right here, these are called the pan knobs. Does anybody know what pan knobs are?
Adjust the position of each instrument.
Yes, in the headphones or in your speakers. So if I pan it all the way to the right, you're just going to hear the piano come out of your right speaker. If I pan it all the way to the left, you're going to hear everything come out of your left speaker. So when you're mixing your track, it's kind of nice to have everything, and we'll go over this again, everything have a place in your speaker. So you don't want everything going all the way to the left or the right or down the middle. Everybody has a little home. Every instrument has a little home in your speakers. And the way you move these knobs is you pull down to go left and you pull up to go right. All right, here's our record button. S is for solo. M is for mute. And this is a fader. So this adjusts your volume, your playback volume. If you pull it down and you want to, it defaults to 0. You don't really want to push it above 0. But if you have your fader down here and you want it to go back to 0, you can hit the option key and just click on it and it will bounce back to 0. Then you can tell it's a MIDI track by this little keyboard right here. You can rename your track here, and you can also take notes in this little section right here. This is your mix window that you'll be working on later in the semester.
Can you repeat how you made it look like that?
Made it a what? Oh, so if you do
So small. Yeah.
command equals,
You said equal?
yeah, command equal, or you can go up to the window and down to mix.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, so that's your mix.
Usually that would just help us see the different tracks we have, or
Yeah, so once you record all your instruments, you're going to want to go to your mix window and you're going to want to make everybody sound good in the track. So if I have, let me just create a couple tracks.
Professor, can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, of course.
How do I assign an input for my instrument so it makes sound, if that's why it's not making sound?
Okay, so you put an insert, you put an instrument, you put expand in your inserts.
That doesn't show up for me.
Okay, hold on 1 second. And
Okay.
can you share your screen? You have the ability to share your screen?
Are you talking about me?
No, Moda High I was talking about, but let me just finish up.
I can't right now.
Oh, you can't right now. Okay. So let
I
me,
mean, this says someone else is sharing.
oh yeah, I am. But let me just finish this up. So Noah, this is when you're done recording all your instruments, you would go to your mix window and you would say you would have your melody a little up. You would maybe take your harmonies down in the tracks. You would make your bass maybe here and your drums like here, and then you would pan. So this is after you're done. This is like you're polishing up.
Yeah.
So we're not
That
going to
makes
work
sense.
in this right now, but we will work in this a lot later.
All right, perfect. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's good to know that it's here. Okay, so Moda High, you don't see, so you have this right here, a piano or an instrument track, right?
Yes.
You have inserts. Say inserts.
Yes.
Okay. If you click on one of the boxes and go to multi-channel plugin and down to
Multi-channel.
instruments.
And down to instrument. Yeah, then expand to.
Yes.
Yeah, I have an instrument there.
Okay. And then click on this little record button.
Yes.
Okay. And do you hear anything when you hit
Uh,
your
it
keyboard?
says one audio track could not be record enabled because it doesn't have an input and an output assigned.
And are you sure you made an instrument track and not an audio track? So if you go up
Okay.
to track and then new track,
Okay.
this window pops up,
Okay.
and then go down to stereo. And then rather than audio, pick instrument track.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. And I think
Thank
that
you.
might solve your problem.
Thank you.
All right. How are we doing? Any questions on the edit window or mix window? So our
I just have a question about the quantizer thing. Like, I know how to do it, but I don't know what it does. Like, I put quarter notes, and I don't know if it made any difference into
so
my track.
so what quantizing does is when you play to the beat, there's a good chance that you're not going to be exactly on the beat because
And
you're
it has everything into that specific beat instead of having to redo it and go on beat.
yeah. So when you quantize something, it takes all the notes you played and it moves them to the beat.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so our final window, so there's three window, we did edit, we did mix, and the final one is transport window. And the transport window is a little bit of a repeat on what's going on up here, but some people like to have it pulled up for whatever reason. So you would go down up to window and then down to transport. And you see this little window pops up. Mine looks like this right now. I'm going to add a couple things. So I want to add the counters and MIDI control. Keep hitting the keyboard, sorry. It's in my lap. So what's good right here is this right here is called wait for note. So if I have this clicked on and I start recording, it won't record until I actually play a note. So if you want to get yourself prepared and ready and then like dive in when you're ready, click this little button, wait for note. Right here, this is called note overlap. And this allows me, if that's clicked on, it allows me to record again. You can hit the button or hit the keys and it will record in addition to what I have already recorded. If this is not turned on and I go to record, it will erase what I've done before and record my new stuff. So if you want to overlap what you recorded previously, then you're going to click this little button right here and it's called no overlap. Then this is called the conductor track. And if you have this on, then you are able to add multiple tempos. If you unclick the little conductor up there, then you can only have one tempo throughout your track. So if you want to, go faster or slower at certain points, make sure your conductor track is clicked. Is there a question? Yes. Okay. Does that work for audio too? Which part? The conductor or the no overlap? The no, actually, I don't know about the no overlap. I don't think so because I think it's MIDI related. That's a good question. We'll have to, yeah, the no overlap. No, I think it's just for MIDI. But when we start recording audio, remind me and we'll test it out. Good question. Okay. Here, this is the count off. So if you want to start recording, playing your track, but you don't want to start it right as you press the play button, you hit count off and you can select either 2 bars, 3 bars. So I can do 1 bar and then it'll count off 1 bar and then start recording. you can select whether you want to do it during play and recording, only during recording, or only during count off. So those are all options right there.
How do I get that screen?
Double click on, see where it says count off. So to turn count off on, you click that. So it highlights count off. And then where it says 1 bar, mine says 1 bar, you would just double click that. And then you can adjust it here.
All right, I see it.
Yeah. And then if you click this off, it will only do the count off during recording. Or yeah. If you click that on, it will only do it during recording. If you don't have that clicked on, it will do it always. And then you can also adjust your tempo and your meter here, as opposed to up here on the rollers. All right, any questions on the transfer window? We feeling good about the lay of the land? Okay.
How did you find the recording window?
And say that one more time.
How did you find this recording window? Like this little window where you
Oh,
can
that,
press.
okay, it's called the transport window, and you can either do command 1, or you can go up to a window and then down to transport.
Thank you.
And then you can adjust what's in the transport by this little drop down menu up here. And you can select or deselect things to your preference.
Can you adjust the metronome, the tempo there?
Yes, so right here, where it says tempo, you can just double click on that. Do that. Oh, because I have the conductor, so I can double click on it and I can change that there.
Thank you.
And same with the meter. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust our preferences so that we all see the same thing when we click on certain things. So everybody open up your preferences, and you would do that by going up to Pro Tools and down to settings. Yeah, settings, Pro Tools and settings, and this window will pop up. So up to Pro Tools and then down to settings, and it will pull up your preferences. And then everybody just take 5 minutes and make sure that your preference windows under display match what's here, and under the MIDI tab match what's here. And then give me a thumbs up when you're there.
How do I get to this window on a Windows?
On Windows, if you go to up to Pro Tools, what is your options in the drop down menus?
There is no Pro Tools drop down.
Sorry. Did anybody find it who has a Windows? Up by, what's to the left of file?
Nothing.
Nothing? Oh. Who else is on a Windows?
You can get to it if you click on setup. It should be at the bottom.
What is it, Victor?
If you click on setup, the bottom of it should show preferences.
Oh, okay. So he's saying over here and then down there. That's great. Thank you, Victor. Okay. Okay. Let me share my screen one more time.
Professor.
Mhm.
Under general color, I only have the option that says MIDI note color shows velocity, but it doesn't show
For the display option, I'm sorry. It doesn't show the MIDI note color shows velocity. I mean, the one on top of it, always display marker color.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, then just don't worry about that.
Okay.
And there's also extra options on the bottom. It's, the marker colors.
Uh, under track color where it's put,
Yeah, under color coding.
just do
It's
track color.
under, it's like its own section.
Oh, well, do the best you can. The main
Right
thing
about.
under MIDI to make sure that where it says double clicking a MIDI clip opens to have MIDI editor. That's the primary thing.
And for the MIDI merge release mode, I only have latch and latch until next event.
Okay, do latch.
Latch on it.
How's everybody doing? Got it all set up?
Professor,
Yes.
for in the MIDI part of the tool preferences, all the way on the bottom, it says MIDI merge release mode. So mine says latch and latch until next event.
Yeah, just do latch.
Okay, thank you.
Problem. Any other questions? Okay, so now that we are all in sync with our preferences, go back over to Pro Tools, or you're already in Pro Tools. Go to your edit window and make sure you have your grabber tool on, and then double click on your track. And you will see this window pop up. And this is called the MIDI editor.
Where did you double click?
I just double clicked on the clip. So I went, I have my grabber tool. And then if you just double click on your clip, that pops up. And you'll see up here is really similar to your edit window. You can, you have your smart tools up here and your grid mode, your slip mode. You can pick a pencil. Apparently, a new update is it actually tells you what the notes are, which is cool. And if we
I
go,
don't
you don't see them? Oh, maybe that's a,
Yeah, I don't think it's the same for Windows because I double click, it's delete the whole thing.
Yeah, same. And I'm on Mac.
ooh, okay. Let's see. This. You double click on the clip. Can you?
Yeah, I double clicked on the track and then it fully opens like its own tab kind of.
Yeah, that's what it should do.
But I can't see the options above still. Like it's not. Yeah, I can't see the options. Like
Can I share my screen and show? Maybe you could tell what I do wrong.
Let's see.
Okay, I'm sharing the screen. Do you see?
Mhm. Okay, you got to be in clip mode. So if you go where it says instrument one over on the left side of your track, and then instead of notes, go down a little bit, uh, get out of that drop down menu. Yep, where it says notes, a little higher. Yep, click on that and go to clips. Yes, and then double click on that.
Oh, now I see. Okay,
Yep,
thanks.
no problem. Did that work for
uh
you, Noah?
nah, I had clips the whole time.
You had to go, and when you double click on the clip, what does it do?
Um,
It just shows the drop down menu if I double click.
Using the grabber tool?
Oh wait. No, yeah, it still does its own tab. I'm trying to like delete the tab too, but it's just there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you went to,
It's like I feel like on Google it has like different tabs on top. It's the same thing but for Pro Tools. It has one of the tab is Edit, Untitled one, and then MIDI Editor as the next tab.
can you screenshot it and email it to me?
Yeah, or should I join the Zoom through actually, yeah, I'll just screenshot it.
Okay,
Or can I take a picture through my phone?
sure. As long
No
as I
problem.
see it.
No problem.
Okay, so we're back. Everybody's got their MIDI editor open. Now, a couple things here. If you go down to this where it says velocity at the bottom, does anybody know what velocity is?
Is that like how you strike the key?
Yes, perfect.
yeah.
It's the strength. So if you look at my screen, you can see I hit these notes a lot harder than I hit these notes. So if you're like, oh, I can barely hear these notes, you can select velocity and I can turn up the velocity just by dragging that up. And then you'll be able to hear that note more. You can also adjust the volume. So you can crank it down or up as such. If you go into pencil tool up here, you can actually draw in, this is called automation, you can draw in your volume.
How did you make the whole piano?
What's
Full?
that?
How did you make the window piano, like the piano window, make it full like, to the full screen?
Fuller. If you go up to this little thing right here, that would do it. Actually, yours popped up on the bottom of your screen. I think that's in your preferences under you want it to pop up in a separate window. Let me just check. So yeah, so when you did your preferences, did you select that double click a MIDI clip opens and it goes to MIDI editor?
Yes.
Let me look into it, how you make it a separate window in 1 second. So you can draw in your volume. You can also, if you want to draw in your pan, so you can have your track going from the left to the right by doing that. And if you play back your track, you'll hear it go from your left speaker to your right speaker. And then another cool thing in this window is you can change your view into a score by hitting this up here.
Professor,
Yes.
how do I make the edit window its own screen? It pops up as like a little rectangle on the bottom.
Yeah. Let me look into that because I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
Oh. Oops. I'll check it in 1 second, Noah. Just meeting editor, separate window. Let's see what they say. Let me look into that. Keep looking into that. But everybody play around with the MIDI volume, MIDI pan, velocity. You can also mute. So if you all of a sudden want to like mute this note right here, you can, or section, you can draw on a mute right there. So play around with how that works and how it sounds.
How did you do that? The MIDI. I put the option MIDI volume, but I don't know how to like use that. I missed that part.
Okay, so if you go to MIDI volume
Hmm.
and then select your pencil up here, you can,
Yeah, I can't see that. That's the only problem.
oh, you don't have this right down here.
I think if I go back to that first page, I can see it's like weird. It's covering the.
So if you have this little at the bottom of your color, track color, there's a little white
Yeah, I
box.
see it.
Click on that and you'll be able to see, hopefully,
Oh, okay. I see it on my edit.
yeah. And you
Okay,
can
that makes
also
sense.
do multiple. So if you, again, on your track color, if you see the little plus sign, you can do a MIDI
Oh,
pan,
okay, that makes sense.
a MIDI mute, any of that.
And that's specifically for that one track.
Yeah, this is track specific. So you would have
Okay.
to go do that on all your tracks. So everybody play around with that and let me see if I can help you guys get your MIDI editor in a separate window. I'm gonna.
Hey, Professor, I just
The MIDI editor window in Pro Tools can be.
sorry, I just wanted to let you know I just got home from my last class on campus. That's why it took so long to join up. I'm sorry.
Hurry.
Access from the window menu, then by clicking on MIDI editor. To bring up the MIDI editor from a keyboard shortcut, use Ctrl+= on Mac or Start+.
So Abbottson and Motorhigh, if you go to Control and then plus, does it open it in a separate window? Or you can go to Windows and then to MIDI editor.
Like the thing is, I can't make it big, even though
Control plus worked. Thank you.
Okay, Abbottson, you can't make it. You want to share your screen?
Yes. Do you see it?
Yes. Okay, yeah, I see it it's at the bottom. I don't know if this will work. Go to that top right of your MIDI editor window.
Okay.
And do you see that little gray box on the top right of the MIDI editor? To the left right there.
Left.
left of that little, yeah, hit that. Okay, that didn't do anything. Okay, go to that little drop down menu that you had before. Go down to display options. All right, let me keep looking for you. And if you go to up to the tabs at the top and you go to window, click out of the MIDI editor that you have right now.
Click out. What do you mean?
Double click on the MIDI or the clip that you have. Yeah, right there. Oh, there you go.
Well, how to get rid of this one?
Pull it down, so drag it down. See if you go in between. Yeah, right there, and drag that down. Yeah, there you go. Now double click on your clip.
Oh, okay. I see.
Okay. Let me check my email, Noah. Okay, Noah, what was your question?
It just has different tabs, but I went back to the edit tab, and I have like the editor stuff like the velocity MIDI volume
Oh,
underneath everything, but I don't know how to get rid of like the other tabs.
I think
Like,
you X out of them.
yeah, it's not exiting out. That's the problem.
Uh, Click the red circle button on the top left.
Uh, it's gonna delete the whole.
It won't delete it. Click out of it.
It's not even letting me. I'm clicking it. It's not doing anything.
Go up to window
Yep.
and then go down to MIDI editor and unclick that.
Oh, it just made me go into another tab. You said unclick it?
Yeah, it
How
made
do I
another tab.
unclick it? Oh, there you go. Oh, I can delete it. There you go.
Okay, cool.
All right, thank you.
How's everybody else doing?
So are you able to fill me in on what it is that I need to do?
Yes. So, Eric, if you open up your last project,
Yeah.
and then if you go to share my screen. We're working in the MIDI editor right now. So what you would do is you would double click on your track, make sure that you have the grabber tool, and double click on your track, and this MIDI editor will pop up with all your notes that you recorded. And down here, you can adjust the volume. You can adjust if you want to mute a certain note, you can do that here. You can adjust the velocity, which is the strength of how you hit the note by just down.
Can you show me how you access that chart again? Because I double clicked one of my notes and it just disappeared.
So, are you in clip mode?
Oh, I'm in. It says grid. I'm in grid.
Right here where it says clips.
Oh,
Are you in
okay.
notes?
Yeah. Okay, now I'm in clips.
Yeah. So switch to clips and then double click.
Okay.
How do I delete? Not delete. Go back to like if I was in a Word doc and I like want to go back and redo or like just
Undo.
start from the beginning. Yeah, undo stuff.
Command Z.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And then the last thing I want to show you guys is this right here, the pencil tool. So you're probably in freehand, but you can also go into line, triangle, square, random. And so if you say you select triangle, when I use my pencil, it will draw triangles for the MIDI mute. You can also go into line. So if you want to do it like a fade at the end of your track, You just draw a straight line and that will fade it out evenly. I think freehand is probably the best bet, but just play around with those different modes down there as well.
Professor, my what is this track called? Or this the thing that I double click, that the stuff that's on your screen right now. What is that called?
That's called the MIDI editor window.
Okay, the MIDI editor window is super like tiny for me. How do I like make it bigger?
Did it pop up into a new window?
It popped up like in the bottom on the same window.
Okay. So what you're gonna want to do is go to, hopefully this will work for you too. Go up to MIDI or go to window and then MIDI editor.
Yeah. Okay.
And hopefully it'll pop up in the window.
Good. Yeah, it did.
Great. All right, so let's take a couple minutes and everybody just play around a little more with the MIDI editor window. And your automation tools. Adjusting the velocity is really good because if you have a nice performance, but a few notes are a little too soft or too loud, you can just go in and fix them quickly without having to re-record.
Professor,
Yes.
how do I undo a muting?
Undo a muting. That's a great question. So you can actually just use your selector tool right here and just select it and then hit delete.
Thank you.
Yeah. Or Command Z would probably work too if you had just done it.
Professor, can you show how to mute again?
Yes. So right here, if I'm not seeing anything, any of those velocity MIDI mutes, this at the bottom of your track color, there's a little box. It's an automation box. If you click on it, this will pop up. And you can add as many as you want by the plus sign right here. And then so one option is velocity. There's also MIDI mute. So say you have a bunch of notes and you want this note, you don't want to delete it because you're not sure, but you don't want to hear it right now. You could just go like that and it will delete that note or it will mute that note when you play it back.
Okay. You see how it's in that bar, how you any notes that was in that that column, it will all be muted?
Yeah, so this note will be muted.
Okay. And if you had another one above that, that one as well would be muted with that one.
Exactly. But
Okay,
you can
thank you.
hear these notes over here and these notes over here.
I got you.
Yeah, and like the MIDI volume is really good because you can kind of make your I'm in line mode still. You can make your notes or your performance have a little more of an arc rather than sound so mechanical by drawing in your automation there.
Person,
Yes.
how do I turn off the sound from the tempo? Because it's so like it's annoying to hear it.
Oh, that's a good question. So let's see. There's a couple ways you can, do you have a click track on? So if you have a click track, if you went to track, new, oops, sorry, go track, then down to create track. So here I created a click track. You could just mute it by doing that. You can also turn down your click track by pulling this down or going to your mix window and pulling down here. That will adjust your click volume.
Good tempo, like this thing.
Oh, the metronome. I think you're talking about the
Yeah,
metronome.
the metronome.
On the top
tempo
right,
thing.
there's a little button.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
want,
okay.
yeah,
Could you show again? Where?
right here under your
Uh,
count off. It's also in your transport window. It looks like a little old-fashioned metronome going back and forth.
uh,
You want to share your screen?
it's,
Okay, so scroll over. It's kind of off to the right of your where your screen is right now.
yeah, I can. I had to move that.
Okay, so if you go to window and then to transport window, all the way down. Yes, right there. And see it's right under where it says count off meter tempo.
Here.
Yeah, that's the one. How are we all doing?
Professor, you just want us to like mess around with with the velocities and stuff. You don't want me to do anything like pinpoint.
No, just hear how it's working.
Oh, okay.
It's just a test. I'm not going to turn this in. It will come in handy with later projects.
I got you.
Professor, I just have a quick question.
Go for it.
Since we were just talking about the click tracks, I was just trying to like see if I had one, and I have one in my project, but I can't get it to make any sort of noise. Like, and I have the like the little blue metronome like clicked, but every time I go to like play anything back, I hear no click at all. Am I supposed to be hearing it if I'm just playing back the MIDI?
So you might have, let's see here. There might be, if you go to your transport window,
Yeah.
and if you double click on your tempo, I think it is. Or no, actually double click on the count off. Is that what it would be? Oh no, here it is. So double click on the metronome right here.
Okay.
And then you'll see only during count off, only during recording, during play and recording.
Oh, I see. I have mine only during recording. That makes sense.
Yeah. So click it to both if you want both.
Cool. There it is. Thank you so much.
Professor, what is the click track? Is that the same thing as the metronome?
Same thing as the metronome. It's just, it's nice having it up because then you can adjust like the volume, you can mute it quickly. It's
Okay.
easier, but you don't have to have it up.
You can make the like lower.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go to your mix window by doing Command equal, you can
Mhm.
adjust the fader right here and bring it down, bring it up, and that'll adjust the volume of it. Great. Any questions thus far? All right, let's take a little break and then we'll get back and get into some songwriting. Come back at, what is it, 17? So it's 6:37.
Professor,
Yes,
do you mind if I ask a question?
absolutely.
Okay. When I try to quantize this brief um thing, the chord, I just made it. It puts a bunch of notes. It puts two sets of notes in the same bar each time.
Huh.
Is there a way to not do that?
Do you want to share your screen? I think if you pick a different denominator,
Sure.
yeah. So undo what you did.
Oh my goodness. Where am I? Here I am. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Was that a no?
Yeah, that's a no.
What
Oh,
about now?
yep, it's coming.
Okay.
So, double click on your clip.
Right. So I go to event,
Yep.
quantize. I'm in quarter note,
Yeah.
then apply.
Yeah. Okay. So undo that. Yeah. Now go up to where your counter is, where it says 0000 at the top of your um in the counter window. Yeah.
Here.
And then switch that to bars and beats. Yep. Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So it looks like you're not playing on the grid that much.
Right. I
That's
wasn't
why,
listening to.
yeah, you
Okay.
probably weren't playing to the metronome, which is
I
fine.
was. I could turn a metronome on, I guess.
Yeah.
Is that
But if you were to play
where's the
the
metronome?
metronome, if you go up to track and then all the way down to create click track, yeah, at the very bottom, then you'll have your metronome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then
Thank
you play to the track and then you can quantize. Yeah. To freehand it, you'll be all out of whack if you try and quantize.
Got it. Thank you.
No problem.
How do I stop sharing my screen?
Professor?
Stop share.
Oh wait, I'll wait till they finish.
Oh, I think we're done.
Oh, okay,
Good.
bye. Okay, so you see the grab tool. Can you explain those tools real quick? So the grab tool is just so I can like edit everything, kind of like to hold it, right? And to move it around. The one on the left, I don't know what that one's for.
Okay. So the grab tool is so you can grab it, move it left, right?
Mm-hmm.
The selector tool is you can select within the track.
Okay.
So if I want to delete those notes, I could just select them and then hit delete.
Okay. How come you were able to just touch, sorry, how come you were able to just touch, you see where it says piano dash 02? Like, yeah, like you were able to click grab and that whole section was highlighted the
Yeah.
moment you clicked it. But for me, what I have to do is I have to hold it and I have to drag it. Like, I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. So if you have this hand tool right here,
Yeah.
you should just be able to click on it and it will highlight the clip.
Oh, because it's in clips now. Okay. Because before it was on just notes. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would stay in clips for the most part,
Mm-hmm.
rather than in notes. Once you're done.
And okay. And the last thing, sorry. You see how there's three tools there, and then when you click the bar up top, it highlights all three. What does that do?
So that's called the smart tool, and that allows you to use all the tools without going up here and clicking on them. So if I'm in the bottom of the track, then I'm in grabber mode. If I go
Okay.
to the top of the track, then I'm in selector mode. And if I go to the right or left of the track, then I'm in trim mode.
Okay. Thank you. That's cool.
Upper, selector, and then trim.
I got one question on how did you name the piano 4, 2, 3, and 5? Because if you clicked on it, it only shows that section, but for me it shows the whole track.
That was that did it automatically. I think if you right click on your track, you can no, that didn't work. I think when you record, this was the recorded, that was the second thing. It kind of names itself. It probably
Oh, so if you record three like 4 different times,
Yeah.
it'll okay, that makes sense.
and there's probably a way to rename it, but I'm not sure what that is exactly.
And can you repeat on the how do you um name the verse one, verse two chorus again?
Yeah. Okay. So these are your rulers up here. So this is a
Mhm.
marker.
Oh, okay, I see. And then you just type it.
Yeah. And
That
wherever
makes
your
sense.
cursor is where the marker is going to set, but you can move the marker left and right.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just playing around with the velocities and different stuff.
Yeah. We're actually on a break now. So
Oh, okay, that makes sense. For how long?
till 6:37.
No problem.
Um, Professor, I've already submitted the assignment. Could you help me to check does it work or you want something different?
The assignment for this week?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you wrote a song already. Wow. Hello. Yeah. It's downloading.
Also, one question. Um, for the instead of like if I don't want to use my mini keyboard and I could like use my interface and plug in my guitar, I could edit the same things as well as if I play with the guitar and you like quantize it and all that.
Well, with the guitar, you can you plug your guitar into your computer and make MIDI notes with it?
Uh-huh. Maybe what do you mean, it's like I think I'm able to play
You can make
uh
audio notes with your guitar.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not this. This is MIDI.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but we'll be getting to audio and then you can definitely do that.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Professor, what is quantizing?
Is so when you have your notes, it snaps them to the grid. So if you play if you play MIDI notes, you play your scale, you're not going to be exactly in time. So when you quantize your MIDI notes, then it will snap it into time. So you do that by going up to event. You highlight your notes. Then go up to event operations.
Quantize? Okay.
Yeah. And then quantize. And then you want to pick the notes that are like if you played all quarter notes, then pick quarter notes. If you played eighth notes and quarter notes, pick eighth notes. You pick the lowest denomination.
Okay. I don't know what that means, playing like quarter note and all of this stuff, but okay, I just
Yeah.
want
So
to
if you're
think
playing
check
right on
out.
the beat, you go na na na. If you do eighth notes, you go and if you do
Mm.
16,
No, 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 no. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. It's the same note but faster though?
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you. So then if a quarter note is 1, 2, 3, 4, then the half note will be 1, 2, like slower, right? Or
Yeah,
no?
it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a half note.
Okay.
Eighth note, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5.
Okay. So does it matter how long the note let me see if I could just turn my camera. Okay, ready? Um you see, I don't know if you can see it clearly on the screen, but if I'm in quarter note right now, it says I'm in quarter note. So even though this note is super long, let's say I made it longer, it will only go for a quarter note time or no?
No, it'll last as long as you played it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you
Okay.
listen to it, it'll be lasting a lot longer than that.
Okay. Thank you.
Problem.
Excuse me, Professor.
Yes, Claire.
I have a few questions about the syllabus.
Sure. Go for it.
So we have to make a track for the melody, one for the harmony, one for the bass line.
Yes.
That can all be done with the MIDI instrument, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna go over that. The next part of class is all gonna be talking about that, so don't worry.
Really? So this time is just for more messing around?
We're on a break.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah.
When will the break end again?
6:37. So in a couple minutes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
Um, Okay, well,
Professor, how do I? Oop,
who's that?
sorry, it's me again. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I'm using the editor and I'm trying to click like MIDI volume and mute, and you see how there's like the little white dots, and that's where you can edit. There's only like one or like two at the start, so like I don't know how to break it up. Does
Are
that make
you
sense?
are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I got you right now. Okay, let me know when you can see.
Okay.
So see this right here, like the MIDI mute, I only have it like here, but what if I wanted to just mute this note right here?
Okay, use the pencil tool at the top. Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much. I forget.
no problem. Okay. Any other questions, anybody, on what we've done thus far? Okay, cool. So we are going to get into songwriting because you guys are going to be submitting your first songs this week, which is very exciting. I can't wait to hear it. Let's see here. So who's done songwriting before? I know a couple of you said you did.
I made a song with a friend, but he did all the mixing.
Ah, okay. So how'd you write your song?
Um, I made a voice note of like how I wanted the chorus to be, and I kind of worked around it.
Nice. So you started with a vocal idea.
Yes.
Awesome. Anybody else? Well, it's Jade. What'd you do?
I first give myself a theme, like of what I'm gonna write about. I give myself 3 words,
Oh, I
and
like
then I
that.
write about those 3 words.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then my brother comes up with a chord progression.
nice. What are your topics generally for your 3 words?
Love, despair. No, I'm kidding. It's usually like about like heartbreak or midlife crisis.
Awesome. Love it. Marissa.
I took a songwriting course here at Queen's last semester. That was like my first experience. So what we did there was just kept like a songwriting journal, and we would like randomly think of topics that interest us, and then I would just come up with like chords on either the piano or the guitar. But that's all my experience has been.
Love that. And Derek, how about you?
It's similar to Jade. I'll think of like a topic, and but usually like I'll hear the song and until or like the beat, and until there's something that really like catches out, I'll be like, and then I'll try to say something that like it'll either be the hook or like the chorus that like I'll start with, and then once I enjoy it, then I'm just building up from that moment on. But it's really the theme is like kind of where it gets you. I don't know. But yeah.
I love that. Anybody else? All right.
For me, produce like the chords, I just stick with the chord I like and I build around that chord.
Not awesome. So you don't know where you're going.
Yeah, I just whatever it takes, how I feel.
Nice. I love that. In the moment. Jessica.
I've written exactly one like traditional song in song form. Last semester or 2 semesters ago now, I guess, I took a class on teaching modern band in middle school, and at the end of it, with Professor Eric Davis, we wrote a song in. It wasn't in Pro Tools. It was in I can't remember like it's like the school one. I'm like forgetting the name of it, but and it was really challenging, and I found it really hard because I'm a classical musician who is used to just getting handed a piece of paper and I just like regurgitate that. So it was really hard, but I started with the words first and then like kind of like wrote them in like verse and then chorus form and then kind of figured out from there how to do everything else. But it was probably one of the most challenging things that I've done musically. So it was really hard.
Amazing. I love it. Way to stick with it and go out of your comfort zone. It is a daunting task to look at a blank sheet of paper. but it's also exciting. But we're going to be doing a lot of songwriting from now until the end, and anything goes. So let's start by getting inspired by.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lee Wilson. I'm an international dance artist. I have so many projects coming out this year, and
I actually don't know how to do it, and I don't want to know how to do it. And I sit down to write a song. I hope it's something I don't know how to do, and I hope it's new. And I don't want to think, oh, it's got to do that, it's got to do this. And if I find myself getting predictable, I'll try and break the thing. So I was now going to try and write a song. I would first of all go somewhere very quiet, like a faraway cupboard or toilet, because it's embarrassing writing songs. You don't want to do it in public because you want to make your mistakes in private. So yeah, I would get somewhere very quiet and probably take a guitar. When you're growing up, you've got so many questions and things flooding in that if you can get off in a quiet space with a guitar, and you kind of can tell your troubles to the guitar. And often in doing that, you come out of the other end and, oh, it's a song. We used to think it was like the greatest therapy. And then just start noodling around on whatever chord you fancy that day, whatever. So I'm coming in my mind, it would be A to the one up from F. So I'd be, I would start with that and start just noodling with it, and just kind of select a rhythm or a tempo that feels okay in the mood I'm in. And then I just start sort of singing over it and just see what comes out. And sometimes something crazy comes out. And often with a song, I'll just start sort of vamping, in Ellen Rigby's case, just starting vamping on an E minor chord, jum, 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 and then I start singing over it. Ba-da-doo-da, ba-da-doo-da. And as I'm sort of doing that, blocking the tune out, I find again, and you can almost hear words in what you're blocking out. And so I knew it was going to be a name. And I had to sort of pick up the rice in the church. I think that was the first thing that came. Picks up the rice in the church. So that's good. Picking up rice in the church. Ah, well, there's been a wedding. Ah, well, she's a cleaner. So I kind of work backwards. It's like a detective story. I just get a phrase that like comes out of nowhere, and then I think, okay, now I've got this. Now I've got to get a name. That's the process for me, is kind of getting a little inspiration and then building on it and filling it in. It's as if, I remember a great old story about an Irish postman going past a guy in a field who was making a sculpture out of a big piece of rock. And he went by for weeks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And finally, when the man had made a big figure out of this rock, the postman came up to him and said, "That's lovely." He said, "How did you know he was in there? You just keep chipping away." And it's like, how did I know she was in there in Eleanor Rigby? It's just a voyage of discovery, I mean, it sounds corny, but it is. And that's what I love about it. You never know what you're going to come out with. No idea whether this is going to be a warm song, a sad song, a story song. You can never tell. I just sit down at a piano or guitar and just start noodling, just start doing something. And if I find a chord that I like, I go, oh, I love this chord. Oh, so I just will start strumming with this chord. And, you probably go through memories that chord evokes. If it's like C, if it's like C major, then I will go right back to when I first learned that and some of the songs I knew then. So when I strum C, that brings those emotions back. And sometimes then I will just recycle them and not copy the song, but use that emotion. Oh, yeah, okay. And then once I'm off on the trail, and if I have a little time, as I said, then I will just follow and just see what the next sentence ought to be and see if I've got some sort of an idea. But as the song unfolds, you start to sort of, oh, you get the idea. You go, I see where I'm going. Sometimes, like on this album, Find My Way, I had this idea, I was in the car singing along to something. I'll find my way. I know my left from right, you know. And I just had this little idea of like being in control. But then when I came into the middle of the song, I was thinking, well, what about people who can't do that? And I know, we all know people who can't. That's what the middle is. You know, you never used to be afraid of days like these, but now you're overwhelmed by your anxieties. And so that was talking to someone like that. And then it was like, let me be your guide. You know, let me help you through the love you feel inside. So that gave the song a nice shape, because it had my confidence and then the anxiety of this other person. So that's what that all meant to me. And so I could do the A, and then the other thing will be the B. So put them together, and you've got a little bit of structure for the song. And it's actually also nice to sing, because the first bit is, I find my way. It's quite deep, it's quite low. There's something, the number is there. So you go right up for the middle. And that's like a nice thing to do in the song, you know. And that was the thing when I was working with John, that was like, I'd say a sentence and he'd suggest the next one. And then I'd suggest the next one. So we'd ping pong off each other, you know. And often we got a good results because John was such a different personality. Like I said in Find My Way, there's two personalities. There's the confident and then the anxious. When I'm sitting down with John, it would be like I'd go, it's getting better all the time. And he'd go, couldn't get much worse. So you get that great A and B thing, you know, you go, yeah, great. It moves you on. But I would kind of go with it and just try and follow the trail. And I think the main thing is to stick with it and not just go, oh, this is terrible. You know, once you're writing a song and it feels good, you can't betray the song and say, I'm not going to finish you because you sound like something I've heard before. You owe it to the song and to yourself to just go with it and finish it. Because often the second verse or the chorus can get great, and then you can sort of go back and fix the beginning of it, you know. So and the process that John and I used is kind of still how I use, still the one I use. And it was just basically to sit down, come up with a bit of an idea of a song and finish it. Just keep doing it, until you got to the end. And then you'd written the song, which I think was probably good, rather than having a little fragment, a little sketch that maybe months later you'll return to, and you'll be trying to recapture the vibe that you did listening to it. And so I don't think it's as good a system, and that I would complain about that, just because it's too easy to put ideas down and then just not bother. We didn't really do much recording, you know, but the thing is, what I say was a good thing, was that we had to write songs you could remember, and I think that turned out to be a good thing. So, you know, John and I would have a writing session, and we'd write something, go away. It was normally in the afternoon, so that we'd go away, we'd have an evening out and stuff. And in the middle of the evening, you'd think, what was that thing we wrote? Oh my God, I've forgotten it. But it always came back in the morning. First thing in the morning, oh yeah, that was it. So you play it again, and you just remembered it. And we ended up saying, well, if we can't remember it, how do we expect other people to? Yeah. So I suppose you were writing stuff that was memorable. It happens different ways, you know. Sometimes it's you're playing, you're singing it, and you get the words. Sometimes it's just the melody, and you don't have any words. So you just work on the melody and make sure you got that right.
And I just woke up one morning with this tune in my head. I thought, I don't know this tune, or do I? It's like an old jazz tune or something, and because my dad used to know a lot of old jazz stuff. Maybe I've just remembered it or somewhere. So I sort of went to the piano, found the chords to it, you know.
Because I didn't want to really say to people, da-da-do, I for some reason had got scrambled eggs. Oh, my baby, how I love your legs, which is sort of goonish. You know, you can hear Spike doing that. And then, obviously, I knew those weren't going to be the words. So I just, the next couple of weeks, I remember actually being in the back of a car, going on holiday, somewhere, one of those long drives from the airport through a dusty road, I think it was Portugal, and just thinking, right, da-da-da, da-da-da, I need a 3-syllable word, da-da-da. Yesterday, that's a good one. Suddenly, that's another good one. Okay, that's 2 verses taken care of. It's about the rhythm of the melody. I knew I didn't want 3 words, you and me, and I wanted 1 word, so I had to just search for a 3-syllable word that fitted the melody. That was something sort of poignant about it. So that's what I do, and I just keep going, and then I just write the words down as I go. And sometimes the second verse is better, so I switch that. When I think of a song, I don't really think of it getting very complex lyrically. I somehow think its framework shouldn't be too complex, because that will, I don't know, make it more difficult to make it a song. And with a song, I like to have hooks, I like to have recurring things. But it is easier for me to write a veiled version of it. So if I'm thinking about civil rights and I'm thinking about the black women being abused as they go into the school, then to me, I prefer to see it as an image of a blackbird. And then I talk about broken wings. So I use metaphors so that on the one hand, if you're a little kid, a lot of little kids say to me the blackbird's their favorite song. So if you're a little kid, they don't know about the civil rights. They're seeing a blackbird and the freedom, and they're feeling the idea of just escaping barriers and stuff, you know, and they just like it as a little song. But so for me, that's what nearly always happens is like in Let It Be, I'll talk about, you know, darkness and times of trouble and stuff, but I'm not often specific, because it's just not my way. And I'm much more comfortable talking about it, but veiling it somehow. It's not hiding it. It's just using a metaphor. I sometimes think that's stronger, so that to actually write overtly about a situation is a little more difficult for me than it is for some other people. I'm allowed more poetry if I've gone in with a sort of metaphor. Then I've got more room to play, and I can think of the same subjects that are bothering me, the lack of freedom and things like that, and you know, the broken wings, the sunken eyes, all this idea. And I know what I'm talking about, and I think a lot of people do. I mean, you think about it, how many people this year particularly have got broken wings? The metaphor is a strong one for a lot of people. So instead of saying, you know, you're out of work, you lost your job, or your work closed down, then I would talk about broken wings and sunken eyes. And to me, it's strong, but it's not as specific. To me, the thing that resonated with me when I was at school, it's just a phrase from Shakespeare, it's to thine own self be true. I've always thought that's very sensible, very strong, and I've lived by that, and I continue to.
There's nothing more powerful than you.
What do you guys think? Inspired? Jessica, are you ready to go into your discomfort zone?
Absolutely ready.
Yeah, I think the great thing about that was just the curiosity that he has, and like how you don't need to know the answer. Yeah, I know. It's pretty cool. And I did hear one time that he doesn't know how to read music, and he doesn't want to learn because he thinks it'll screw him up.
Yeah, that's fair. A few musicians I know, they don't even they only read tabs, or they can't read sheet music and stuff like that, but they still know the theory, they still know how to play, you know?
Yeah. which is great. Whatever works for you works.
Mm.
So,
But it takes a lot to even get there.
yeah, definitely does.
Professor, you saying that is you see how you were like he doesn't want to learn because you feel like it's gonna mess him up.
Yeah.
That's one of the like, not that I'm like anything great, but that's one of the things that I worry about. Like entering this class, I was like, I hope that I learn how to use Pro Tools and like I learn how to like make music and whatever. But like I hope it doesn't become soulless, you know, like it doesn't have any like personality to it. But nah, yeah, it just he seems so full of life though. Like I love the fact that you gave that extra info that he don't resheet music. I think that's so funny. But yeah.
It's pretty
I
cool. So a lot of people would agree. So anyways, you guys are all at different levels as everybody is. So this week you're going to write your first piece of music. It doesn't have to be a song. It can be instrumental. It probably will definitely be instrumental because we're only working with MIDI. But for those of you that haven't written anything before, if you want to start somewhere and you're like, I got no idea where to start, you can start by using the white notes on your keyboard. So for chords, if you use the patterns of 1, 5, 4, 6, you can pick one of them, all of them, and any variation that you want. If you hit these notes on the keyboard, you will create those chords. So you could go C chord, G chord, 6 chord, and then the F chord, or you can go C, F, C, F, whatever you want to do. You can test out. This is just in the key of C, but for those of you that don't know a lot about music, just playing with the white keys is a good place to start. So
Missed a little bit of the start.
Mhm.
So the video is about how to make music, right?
Yeah, it's just like
the
an inspirational video that says
yeah.
like Paul McCartney starts it by saying like he doesn't want to know where the song is going when he starts writing a piece of music. He gets excited.
So a really important question during our final, like the final piece we make, it doesn't really matter that if we don't follow the standard version of like a pattern, like a verse, chorus, because I want it to be like non-standard. So it's
Yeah.
fine, right?
This is your class, so you don't write the songs for me, write them for you. So there's minimal guidelines that they have to be like 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long, or whatever, just so you know it's good to have a little guidance. But you can
And
do
this assignment will be like to make a little song or
yes, a little song. So if we skip ahead to so sequence this song using virtual instruments in Pro Tools. It's going to be 3 tracks. One track will be the melody, one will be the harmony, and one will be the bass line. If you're a graduate student, it has to be 3 minutes long or 64 bars. If you're an undergrad, it's 2 minutes long and 32 bars. And you can do anything you can do 10 tracks if you want. This is just a minimum. You can make it 5 minutes long, but that's just the minimum. So going back to our chords, and you don't have to play chords. You can play, just notes. But if you use a chord structure like this, once you do the chords, then just place some notes on top of it to make a melody. It can be very simple. Doesn't have to be complicated. It can be complicated. Just have fun with it, play with it, explore. If
can
we're
we use other instruments beside piano? Like
Yeah.
if I use guitar, okay.
And when I say a bass, you can use a tuba. You can just have something in the low register, have something in the mid register, and then have a melody. So if you're going with the traditional chord chart, you can do, this is just, again, guidance if you're not knowing where to start and you're a little overwhelmed. You can do a 1-4-5, a 1-5-6-4, a 1-4-6-5, or a 1-6-4-5, or you can just stay on the 1. I would vary it if you're going to do like your verse 1-4-5, then maybe try doing your chorus 1-5-6-4, something like that. Melodies, just start humming. Like Paul McCartney said, just like play. If you want to put down your chords first, then just do your chords and then hum over your chords. If you just want to like go around just humming melodies, everybody's got a phone, just recording melodies and then translate it onto the piano. Have your chorus and verses, the melodies complement each other. So if you're using, eighth notes in your verse, then use quarter notes in your chorus. Make the notes longer to give it a little more of an arc. And you want it to be catchy, but not painfully repetitive. So fine line. But again, this is a process. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not shooting to get a Grammy here in our first week. We're just trying to learn. So we're not doing song ideas, but as Jade said, she likes to come up with themes or a couple words. So some song ideas are in sync music, overcoming things, being bold, being happy, sunshine, home, togetherness, empowerment. So like a major chord, a progression, minor chord would be making something sad. You can do spooky, you can do anything. Lyrics, when we get to lyrics, marketing research has shown that 4-word sequences are most attractive and memorable, like happy birthday to you, let's get on, here I go. Again, same with notes. So 4 notes is probably more memorable as a melody than doing like 20 notes. And when making lyrics, make a stream of consciousness list of ideas. And everybody uses a thesaurus and a rhyming dictionary. So don't let that hinder you. So some people have said that they like making the chords first. Some people like making the melody first. Some people like getting the song idea first. You can do it in any order that you want. But the 4 main components are generally you have a song idea, come up with a melody and lyrics or lyrics, come up with the chord progression, and then the production is actually fleshing it out. So adding in the instruments. And for instrumental pieces, you can also use a temp track. Does anybody know what a temp track is?
It's what they use. I know that what they use, and like they use it in movies a lot, where they just have like background music in place of like um music that you're creating, but like they have like a film score from somewhere else,
Awesome.
and it's temporary.
Yeah, that's exactly right. An inspirational track. So if you're like, I would like to make a song like Blackbird, then you kind of be like, okay, what is the meter of Blackbird? What is the chord progression? And kind of use that as a guide of how you are going to make your song.
So it's really like a demo then.
What's that?
It's really like a demo then.
Yeah. Yeah. A demo is, I think it could be that. A demo is more like making a rough copy of music. A temp is more like what you're shooting for or what you're inspired by. But I think we call it a demo too. Why not?
Professor?
Yes.
I don't really know musical terms, but could we do something that's more like rhythmic based as opposed to like chord progressions and melody?
Totally. So I
Okay.
remember not too long ago, I learned that rhythms are also like a hook. So you can have a drum beat be a hook. You can have it could be catchy. It doesn't necessarily have to be melodic to be catchy. It can also be rhythmic to be catchy. That's a great question. And a
So
great
the temp track is just choosing a temp, basically, right?
Yeah, so if you don't know where to start and you're like, I actually really like this song, whatever song it is, a Led Zeppelin song or something, maybe dissect what makes the song that song. What's the chord progression? What's the tempo? What's the meter? What's the vibe? What instruments do they use in the production? And then use that as kind of a guide to inspire you on what you're going to create. Does that make sense? All right. So, and Clara, you said, borrowing ideas. We don't plagiarize here, but there is a little known fact in the pop world that 4 chords are used in tons of pop songs. So some of you might have seen this, but There's no shame in using these 4 chords.
I think Ed Sheeran talked about it.
Say that again?
I think Ed Sheeran talked about it too.
Yes. Yes, he did. Yeah, he has a great, yeah. I heard him say one time that songwriting and making music is like when you go to a cabin and like you turn on the faucet and it's all muddy and disgusting and you got to let it run for a while in order for the water to get clear. So it's a good metaphor of thinking of songwriting. So when you sit down, you might come up with something really great right away, but it might take some time loosening up the wheels and stuff. Oh, Jessica knows this one. Okay. Here it is for the rest of you all.
Folks, we've been a rock and roll comedy sensation for 40 years now, and in all that time, we've never had a hit. And
I know. I would have thought we would have had like a hit song by now.
Guys, you know why we never had a hit?
No.
Why? It's because we've never written a 4-chord song, so you know we're never going to have a hit.
What is a 4-chord?
What's a 4-chord song?
You don't know?
What?
Well, all the greatest pop songs ever written just use 4 chords. I mean, it's the same 4 chords for every song. You want to write a pop hit, just use
4
them.
chords?
What chords?
Yeah, just here, these 4 chords. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 chords. That's all you need to write pop songs.
Let me get this straight, Chicken Little. What you're saying is you can take those 4 chords, repeat them, and pump out practically every pop song ever. Is that what you're saying?
Just pay attention. Do you recognize this?
Yeah, that is Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
And the cast of Khalid.
Yeah, there's a few more songs with the same chords. Check it out. My life is brilliant. My love is pure. I saw an angel. Of that I'm sure.
Well, it's just 2 songs, like
people kill and people die and children hurt and you hear them cry.
3 songs.
Can you practice what you preach? Won't you turn the other cheek? If I could, then I would. I'd go wherever you will go. Can you feel the love tonight? Yes, you will be loved. Yes, you will be loved.
Oh, take me home, country road, to the place where I belong.
Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner.
That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. We'll go riding on the horses, yeah, yeah. No woman, no cry.
Yeah, and it surely is a dream.
I come from a land down under.
Oh, Canada.
They say Taylor was a good girl, never want to be a late complaint. Express ideas in her
I
brain.
need some love like I've never needed love before. I'm gonna make love to your baby.
Take on me
When I come around, when I come around,
save tonight.
gonna take a lot to drag me away from you. There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do.
Shoulders like a melody in my head that I can't be pumping, singing na 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 every day like my iPod stuck on replay. In my head, I see you all over me. In my head, you fulfill my fantasy. In my head,
I know she's playing with me. Well, that's okay, 'cause I got no self-esteem. With 1,000 eyes and a good disguise, and right between the eyes, between the eyes.
what's in your head? In your head, zombie, zombie, zombie. Hey, hey, hey,
Too late to apologize. Too late.
It's my life. It's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. Can't read my, no, he can't read my poker face.
Come on, Bobby, let's go party.
Control yourself. Faithfully watching me promise. We're family of trees, won't
Time to say goodbye. Should old acquaintance be forgot?
and never brought to mind.
I'm more than a bird. I'm more than
sound familiar? Doesn't that hit too close to home? Doesn't that make you shiver? The way that things have gone. And doesn't it seem peculiar? Cause everyone wants a little more. It's something I do remember. To never go this far, that's all it takes to be a star.
So you could do a very long set with just 4 chords. But if all your songs this semester are just the 4 chords, you're probably going to be like, "Oh, I wish I tried something else." But it's a good jumping off point if you're feeling a little lost or like don't know where to start. Yeah, but that is some inspiration or stepping stones for all of you. There's also, I'm going to post this on the Google Classroom. Here are some free plugins that you can add to your pot. This is Spitfire. They got some cool sounds in there. Then there's that's the BBC, so that's like string sounds. And then this is some cool piano. They got guitar in there, some weird cello sounds. And then Guitar Rig is an effect. So you can download this if you want to add to your bundle. So that's what we'll be doing for next week. And before we get started, I'll give you some time to get started on the homework. We can use other sounds if we have them. Yeah, use it. If you do have other sounds, Caroline, make sure that you export your project because I might not have the plugin and then I won't be able to hear what you do. So make sure that that you make it an audio file so I can hear it. That's a great question. So your final project, I know it sounds a little soon since we're only on class 2, but it's good to, this is going to be your prized possession of the semester. So we want to start planning it out. So along with your homework, submit a kind of like, tell me about your temp track, what you're going to do for your final project. You're going to have to use, these are live instrument options. These are not right. You're going to have to use 2 MIDI tracks and 2 audio tracks as your minimum for your final project. And we will be going into the studio starting, where is it? March 19th. And on March 19th, we will be recording live versions or a live track of 3 of your guys' projects, final projects. Then on March 26th, we'll be doing 3 more projects, April 2nd, 3 more, April 9th. So you're all going to sign up as a composer for one of these, and you're going to bring in a session or an idea, and you're going to have somebody record either the piano, guitar, whatever, for your final project. Any questions on the final project? So I'm going to share this Google sheet with you, and everybody sign up for a date.
Quick question. What if you only have like one song that you feel like you should submit?
I would get a little excited and curious and create something new.
I mean, do you only have to submit like 3 songs?
Oh, for the preliminary? Yeah, just submit one. That's fine. If you're like, I definitely know this is what I want to do. I got it.
Okay, thank you.
I'm confused, Professor. What is it that she was asking?
I want you to just let me know what you're planning to do for your final project, and then I want you to sign up on the Google sheet of when you want to record during class. You're going to record during class 1 of the audio tracks, and then you're going to record another audio track outside of class time.
Okay.
And what's that?
If you don't know what you want to do yet, is that okay?
Start thinking about it because it's going to come up real quick.
Okay.
Just to be clear, this week homework is 3 lines, bass, piano, doesn't matter. And you just talked about the final, just advanced, right?
Yes, because it's March 19th we here before, and that's
Is it
gonna
okay if I get it? Is it okay if I go now because I feel not okay right now? Like, yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. Feel better.
Yeah, thank you.
Marissa, you have a question.
For this week's homework, does there need to be lyrics or is it just like an instrumental melody?
Just instruments. Yeah.
Okay.
Only MIDI, no audio. And then Jessica, you could do an original or a cover. You're going to be graded on creativity is one of the things that you're graded on. So if you're doing a cover, make it your own. Get creative with it, but you're more than welcome to do a cover. It's no, it's up to you guys. I mean, this is your education. So if you want to do that and feel good about that being your final project, then let it be your, this is your prized possession of the class. So do what you want for it. Andrew, yes, that is good. Okay, so everybody, you can get started on your homework and I'm going to email you all the Google Sheets. So then you can, or I'll post it in the Google Classroom. So then you can all sign up for the date that you want to record.
And those plugins, Miss, are those gonna also be on the sheet?
Yes, I'll attach the slides into the Google Classroom and they're at the end of the slides.
Thanks.
No problem.
Professor, I think I saw someone write in the chat if the final project will be an original song or a cover of a popular song.
Yeah, you can do either, but part of your grade is going to be creativity. So if you're doing a cover, make it your own.
All right.
Professor?
Yes.
Can I ask you a question about my keyboard? Perhaps you could answer it.
Absolutely.
So I have this Akai.
Good choice.
It's a mini play, meaning it has its, I mean, I don't know if it's different than other ones, but it has its own instruments.
Uh-huh.
How do I record those built-in instruments in Pro Tools?
I think
Yeah, I was having the same thing, and I think you have to download the actual because I was having a whole bunch of problems with trying to connect with my keyboard. I have the MPC Key 37, and it has like a whole bunch of built-in sounds, but you have to I think you have to download the actual Akai. Let me see. It's called MPC, and it has you have to go like on controller. I have controller mode, and you have to like set it up yourself, I'm pretty sure.
So I can't play it on Pro Tools?
I think with the Akai, you don't have an Akai Noah, do you?
I have an Akai MPC Key 37.
Try Mordechai just plugging it in before you open up Pro Tools and it might work. I didn't have to do anything with mine.
I don't need to make a track or anything?
Oh, you need to make a track, yeah. But
And then
your keyboard is only going to play the MIDI information. It's not going to be a piano sound. The sound is going to be the virtual instrument that you attach onto it. If that makes sense.
it does not.
So when I play my MIDI keyboard and I plug it into
Yeah.
my, I'm not getting the sound of me playing here. I'm getting
Right.
the information that I'm recording. It's like when you type on a computer. So
Okay.
I don't think there's any sounds in here that will go onto your Pro Tools, but I'm not sure. These up here you can use as like drum beats. They'll
Okay.
attach to your drum plugin.
Okay.
Do you want to try plugging in your keyboard and then opening up Pro
Yeah.
Tools?
So I should unplug it, plug it back in, and close Pro Tools.
Yeah.
Plug it back in.
Just make sure you plug it in before you open Pro Tools.
Okay.
And then create a new track.
Okay.
Attach a virtual instrument to it, one of the expand plugins to it, record enable, and then try playing it.
Yeah, so I can make sounds with my keyboard. I was wondering though, because this thing has it's got a built-in speaker. So if I put the speaker on, now I guess I'll just unplug it. But it just makes its own. If I can get it to work, that would be great. Point is, it has its own sounds.
I was having the same issue.
Okay, so it sounds like it might not work.
Yeah, but I think it'll work in Pro Tools using just the expand plugins. You're not going to be able to get the sounds from.
Got it. That answers my question. Okay.
You'll just get the information from the keyboard.
Right, but not okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I'm not, maybe there's a way to get the sounds that are in the keyboard, but I don't know.
Thank you.
Professor, what do you mean by like we're recording it live? Like, do you mean that we're like making it during class, or are we just presenting it during class?
We're making it during class. So basically, so you're going to write a song this week or a piece of music. So say you want live bass to replace your MIDI that you have. So during class say you sign up for March 19th, during class, somebody will play live bass and replace the MIDI that you have. You'll pick one of your classmates to do that. Theoretically speaking. Does that make sense?
Like one of my classmates is gonna bring in like a guitar into class and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Or sing or play piano. We got a lot of talent in the room, so we'll use it. Or
Miss,
or
sorry.
you can if you're a singer or whatever you are, we can record you as well during class.
Hey, Professor.
Yes.
So I think answering the question about the keyboard with the sounds of the keyboard, I think he won't be able to do like MIDI. Maybe he will be able to do sound, so he will have to create a track of no MIDI, if not an instrument track.
You mean when you go to create new track, you create
He won't be able to use the sounds from the keyboard as a MIDI. He will be able to use it as an audio, like an instrument.
Yeah, I
So
think
instead of plugging the keyboard into the computer, it will need maybe an interface or maybe using the like we will need audio.
yeah, a microphone.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right. Thank you, Angel.
Thank you.
Professor, I'm a little confused on this word MIDI. Like, there's I hear that there's an audio track, but there's also is gonna replace the MIDI. Isn't the keyboard not the MIDI keyboard? Like,
This is the MIDI keyboard. So when you hit a note, you open up Pro Tools, you attach a virtual instrument, so a piano, and then record that virtual instrument using your MIDI keyboard. So you're getting MIDI notes. MIDI notes are not that's not an instrument. It's basically information. So you're recording the length of the note, you're recording the velocity, you're recording the pitch of the note. You're just recording the information that you're playing on the.
Okay, so I guess I'm just confused on when somebody said like there's gonna be replacing the MIDI. What is gonna be replacing MIDI?
Oh, okay. So if we go into the studio and you create a track and you have a MIDI bass track, so you created a bass track using your MIDI keyboard, you can replace that MIDI keyboard with a live bass.
Oh, it's like the real instrument instead of the digital one.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you now. Second question. If there is like a beat or like a certain track that you've heard before that you like, are you able to just like for the live thing, can I get somebody to do that for me? Like let's say that you had
you want to cover.
I mean, it's not I guess it would be a cover, but there's no lyrics. Like it's just brand new. It's a beat that you found online. But like, would that not?
I would steer away from that because you want to be able to use your song at the end of this versus being that you're like plagiarizing somebody or stealing somebody's idea. And then
now, if it is let's say free for profit, what do you think about that? If not, if you say no, then it's okay.
I would stretch yourself and create something from scratch.
I got you. All right. Yeah, a challenge,
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Speaking of a challenge,
yes.
When I was looking at the syllabus, I was kind of panicking because obviously I never created a song before.
Right.
And so I mean, do you have any tips for that? Like just to get over my anxiety of like trying to play the piano even though
I would just I wouldn't worry about it if that helps. I would just sit down, play a couple notes, record it, and listen back and see where you want it to go. Be like, don't be stressed about this. You're here to learn. You're here to test things out. You're not here to like make the perfect piece of music. That'll come later.
Yeah, but I see so many examples of people who do know how to make music, and I feel like I just end up comparing myself to them, even though I really shouldn't, because I'm just
Probably
starting
have
out.
a lot of crappy music before they put out something that they're proud of. So just you're doing this for yourself and for your growth, and you don't have to worry about being perfect.
Okay.
And I think you'll be like surprised and excited once you get going, because it's always daunting when you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. But rather than being in that mind state, maybe switch to be like, I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. Maybe
Yeah,
that's
some very good advice. Thank you.
no problem. Like nobody has to hear this piece of music other than me. And I have kind ears.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I had a question. So for later on when we start using our other instruments after is it when we use our other like other plugins, are we able to also do that I forgot what it was called. It's what you drag whatever notes you want so it's in the same tempo.
Say that one more time.
Are we able to use the like different plugins and use the same thing that you taught us today on how to I forgot what word it was. It's when you you drag whatever. Huh?
Quantize?
Oh yeah, quantize.
Yeah, yeah. You can do that with all the different plugins.
All right, thank you.
Professor, can you explain the homework that's due for the next week again, please?
Yes. So for next week, you're gonna be, I'll post it, or I'll put it right here. I'll share my screen right here. So you're gonna be making a piece of music. So 3 tracks minimum, a melody, some chords, and bass. And it's going to be a minimum of 2 minutes for undergrads and 3 minutes for graduates.
Okay. If this slide is gonna be on the thing that you're gonna send us?
Yep. I'll post it on
Okay.
the classroom. Yep.
Thank you.
Professor,
Yes.
when making a new track, are we supposed to be in stereo or mono?
Stereo for instrument tracks and mono for audio tracks.
Thank you. We're only doing instrument tracks.
Only instrument tracks, yeah. In a couple weeks, we'll add audio in.
Okay.
Professor, when I'm making a new track and it says instrument track, audio track, and MIDI track, right? I'm using the MIDI for my instruments. So what would the MIDI track be then?
If you do it that way, then you have to create another aux track and send the MIDI track. So don't do that. Just
Oh, it's just complicated.
yeah, bypass that by just creating an instrument track.
I got you. Thank you. My fault. These questions are a little bit just like, bro, what? It's kind of I don't know. It kind of helps me just lock in though.
Yeah, no, we're here to learn and ask questions.
Yeah, you're right.
You knew what you were doing, then you probably shouldn't take this class.
Professor,
Yes.
is there a way to test an expand sound before we like select it? Like, is there a way to listen to it first? Or you
No,
have
you
no.
have to put it on the track, and then if you just hit the one record enable button, then you can hear what it sounds like. But you
Okay.
like scan it. That would be a nice touch. It's like
All
seeing the
right.
font on a Word document before you select the font.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
For XP and audio, like the XMP, what I tend to do is I have like a bunch of notes like playing. And if you have it like already continuously playing like those notes and you change it while you're changing the instrument on the the list where it says like the factory preset and then you could choose like the many different instruments. So if something's already playing, it will switch and you'll hear it being played.
Oh, Rebecca, I never knew.
Yeah, no, I discovered it the other day and it was so exciting.
It's very exciting. Moda High?
Can
Yeah.
you explain that in like steps that I could follow real quick?
Yeah. So, so you know how you get like the XP, I think that's an exclamation point too. So if you have it open on like underneath the preset, um, there's like you have like the soft pads, hard pads, whatever. And usually right now I have it on piano. But if you already have notes already like clips on your screen, then like as you play, like as it's playing, you can while the XP thing is up and you're still choosing an instrument, if the thing is already playing, you can like pick another instrument and it'll play that sound. I don't know if that explained it more or worse.
Um, that's all right. I'll figure it out.
I could share my, oh, wait, would I be able to share my screen?
Yeah, go for it. That would be very helpful.
Yeah. So this is my beautiful screen. So I have this already playing. Um, hopefully audio is also being shared. So if I have this, like, let's say playing, what I can do is I can press the XPN2 and like pick a different one and it'll switch. And I can pick another one and it'll switch that.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you,
But you
Rebecca.
have to have something like already there.
Right.
Very exciting lesson you just taught all of us.
Glad to be of service.
Professor, do you make songs?
I do. I do.
What genre?
Oh, that's always the hard question. I started as a classical musician, then I became a singer-songwriter, and then I went to school for film scoring. So,
Did Pro Tools was like Pro Tools the thing that shot you into that, or was it like beforehand? Like,
uh, before,
mhm.
but I wanted to learn Pro Tools so I could advance and create my own music and be more, I didn't want to wait for people to make music anymore.
Yeah, for you, right? So like, are you at a position where it's like, if you want to write something or like you think of a melody, like you could just get it like all like jotted down on Pro Tools and then like it comes to life. Like you get an idea. Are you able to really bring it to life through Pro Tools now?
I can try.
Do you? Sorry, last thing. Is it by this class or like by the next level of this class up that you think like students like us could get to that point?
I think where you are now to where you're going to be at the end of this class is it's going to be very exciting.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
really good. And then I would just take it and run.
Actually, Professor, I have a quick question again. Do you listen to a lot of music yourself?
I should listen to more.
You should listen to more.
Yes, but
So, what kinds of music have you been listening to?
I actually have been when watching things. like films and TV is when I like to listen to.
Oh, so like soundtracks of those.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm, that's interesting.
yeah. But
Usually when I find like film soundtracks online, I don't necessarily want to like listen to them like by themselves because they're mostly in the movie or the TV show. I'd rather just watch the TV show as.
yeah,
I
I think
understand if
being in New York, you don't drive that much, so it's kind of gotta motivate yourself to turn on something. But I did. I this was the first year where after the Grammys, I was like, I probably should listen to all the Grammy music, see what's happening, what's popular.
interesting. You know, my dad has like a bunch of like compilation CDs of like the Grammy nominees or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know when he stopped buying it. It must have been like a few years ago, but he still has a lot of them.
Hmm.
So
And
I don't
there's
know.
a lot of great stuff out there.
Yeah, definitely. It's a lot easier too with YouTube.
Yeah. But
Even if that like brings a lot of things into question, like is it really okay to be having this on there?
I know it's kind of shortchanging the artist, but it
The
does
record label
allow,
mostly.
yeah, it does allow you to get your music out there.
Right.
But if anybody has suggestions on music that they love, feel free to send. I'd love to hear what you guys are listening to.
Professor,
Mhm.
I actually sent you a song I recorded.
I'm very excited to hear it.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to share their music, you can put it on for all of us to hear too. I'm going to listen to yours.
Enjoy. Thank you.
By the way, Professor, I think I don't know if you saw what's happening in the chat. If you can check that out for a minute.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was just listening to Mordechai's music and really involved in it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was totally in the zone. Mordechai, that was so cool. How about next class? If anybody wants to bring in stuff that they've recorded, we can all have a little show and tell of what you've done. No pressure. And Mordecai, we'll start with you. All right, guys. Well, if there's no other questions, have a good week. I'll see you next Wednesday on Zoom again.
Thank you, Professor. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good
Bye,
night.
Professor.
Bye,
Thank you.
Professor. Take care.
Thank you.
Good night.